All right, welcome to APUSH Chapter 10, Part 1. What we're going to start this chapter bases itself around the Democratic Revolution of 1820 to 1844. What you're going to see in this time period is really the rise of the common man, if you will. Essentially, by 1830, all white men have the right to vote. There's nowhere else in the world that's like this in this time period. America really stands out. It's exceptional in the fact that so many people are enfranchised, meaning they have the right to vote. In England, for instance, only roughly about 10% of the people can vote because they have so much land requirements that go into voting. But that's not the case here in America. And also by 1810, you see common people are beginning to get elected to positions of power and authority. It could be the farmer, the well-off farmer. It could be a merchant who is doing a pretty good job. And once they get into positions, they're going to enact legislation, which is laws that protect farmers, which protect merchants and stuff like that. They're going to look out for their own. It's kind of a threat to the wealthy elite, these people who are known as notables. George Washington, Jefferson, Adams, all those early presidents were from notable families, wealthy families, and that had been used to calling the shots when it was the colonies, and then later on when they became the states. But in the Democratic Revolution, we're getting to shift away from that. It really is just regular Joes are being able to find themselves in positions of power. So very important. Also understand that just like our founding fathers feared, they didn't like the idea that just anybody should be able to vote. And they believed that, talented, wealthy, people who kind of know what they're doing, educated, that kind of stuff, should don't be the only ones that vote. Here in this Democratic Revolution, that's not the case, but you also get a rise in corruption because these ambitious, commoners, if you will, are getting a taste for power and authority. And sometimes that bred corruption, not always, but, it was kind of an offshoot of it. Again, in this time period, you're going to see the rise of the two-party system. Basically, we've always had factions. You had the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists and stuff early on, but what you're really going to see is people, falling into the hard and fast, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Of course, in this time period, it'll be the Democrats versus the Whigs for the most part of this time period, which we'll talk about a little bit more. Religious disputes, political disputes, all these things are going to give way to debate that each party is going to say, well, that's our platform, this is their platform, whatnot. Also understand that one of the very important tenets of this Democratic Revolution was the rise of something called patronage. And basically what that is, if I get elected to a position, I don't want to have to go to work every day and battle it out with the other people there because they view the world so differently than me. If I get a position, whether I win the office of sheriff or mayor or even president of the United States, I'm going to fire all the old people that don't believe the way I believe. I'm going to surround myself with people who see the world just like I do. And I know these people are going to support me. They're going to have my back. It might be Jim Bob down the street who's been my buddy since kindergarten. These may actually be people who don't have the talent or the merit for the positions. So in a way, that is corruption. I'm giving people jobs who really don't deserve them. The only reason they get them is because we're buddies. But I have the security and, I have the backing of these people. So to the victor goes the spoils. So patronage gives rise to something called the spoils system. So keep that in mind. Incredibly important. It will also lead into something called the election of 1824, which we will highlight in the next section. And your kids give you some good comedic interruption there. All right, I'll see you in section 2.